Alright, so we got so much Starfield news to go over today, so sit back, relax, and grab your popcorn, because Bethesda revealed there are 1001 secret hidden windows to the world, as they're calling it, in Starfield, but what are they exactly? Also, you do not want to make this faction angry. Here's why. More on legendary ships and space derelicts. We're also talking about in-game encounters, Day 1 patch notes. Yeah, some interesting stuff going on there. Bethesda's recent comments appear to also have ruffled some feathers in the strangest way possible. We got to talk about that. Also, more on the decision to include a silent protagonist. And we got our first real look at the new Starfield Xbox Series X wrap, plus some newly posted gameplay clips about interstellar exploration and navigation using the star map, creatures, and more. And we also have more on preloading, early access times, and yes, more Constellation members have been revealed. So, a lot to go over. So let us begin right here. Check it out. It says, across the world, we have hidden 1001 unique and numbered windows to the worlds, offering a glimpse into the universe of Starfield. Calibrate your scanner, venture out into the unknown, and share a photo of your find with hashtag Explore Starfield. And here's a little preview about what they are talking about right here. Perhaps this gives further insight into the world you are on. This is a really cool feature, but yes, there are ways that you can actually participate in this. So get that hashtag going. And they also do mention this right here, I should note. It says, join the search and coordinate with fellow explorers in our Discord server. I'll throw all the links in the description below so you can actually participate in this discovery. I don't know if it's going to culminate to something special. We'll have to wait and find out, of course. And yes, we have this one posted by Tom Warren. It says, first look at the Starfield Xbox Series X wrap details here. I have to say this looks super impressive, and I love the idea of wraps. I think it's so genius. Now, they're going to be coming out with their first official wraps here in October, and they're going to be $50. And yeah, I imagine they're going to expand on this even more with other games as well. Let me know if you guys are going to be getting a wrap for your Xbox Series X or S or not. Sound off in the comments down below. But yeah, Starfield also posted an official clip here. Check it out. It says, as you explore the vastness of space, you'll make incredible discoveries. And if we go ahead and play this clip, it says, into the unknown, interstellar exploration and navigation. And let me tell you what, this game looks beautiful right here. Now it says there are many worlds to explore in the settled systems. And you could see how like small you actually are in this game. It is impressive, the size and scale. Of course, you could use the detailed star map to explore and navigate. As you could see right here, zoom out and pick and choose where you actually want to go. It is absolutely ginormous. Scan planets and discover key landmarks as well. And yeah, scanning planets is also going to reveal what resources are actually on those planets. Now land on new planets to explore for yourself. So exploration is obviously a very key part to this game. Just having the freedom, the pure freedom to do whatever you want. And you're going to be running into some interesting creatures. And there was a recent article, and they were like saying the amount of creatures in this game appears to be absolutely insane. And the level of detail on the creatures is also really impressive. So yes, some amazing vistas to also take a look at, as well as you go ahead and land and discover these planets. Now, as you go around the galaxy, the universe, and explore, you will, of course, be running into factions. And there is one faction, of course, in particular that appears you do not want to piss off. So check it out right here. And there's a good reason for this. It says, in accordance with the Treaty of Narion, the UC controls 3 star systems at the heart of humanity's earliest interstellar endeavors. Society in UC space is bound by military tradition, civic pride, and science built on the vestiges of mankind's oldest remaining history. And yeah, so you can see here how the clip is showing off the areas that they actually oversee, which of course includes New Atlantis. This is pretty significant. If you're roaming around New Atlantis and you've pissed off the UC, that's going to make life difficult. Of course, Mars is part of their umbrella of protection, I guess you would call it. And then we have the Wolf system as well. And we could see Pontum is part of this too. But yeah, the locations are absolutely beautiful. as you can see. And what will you discover? Yeah, in your discoveries, it might be wise to basically try to be friendly with the UC if possible. However, it's up to you, because yeah, you could be as evil as you want in Starfield. You could be a pirate, what have you. It's going to be interesting to say the least. But you know what? I mentioned previously there was a 15 gigabyte day one update for Starfield. But guess what? Today, we actually have those patch notes. Check it out right here. Performance and stability fixes. This is pretty impressive. It says improved stability related to suspending and resuming the game for Xbox Series X and S. Fix rare crashes that could occur when viewing the credits after completing the game. Fix crash that could appear when repeatedly loading some saves inside of ships. And very stability and performance improvements. Again, we are beyond version 1.7 at this point, which is saying something, because yeah, Fallout 4 started out with 1.1. So yeah, that's really good news. Now, there were also some visual fixes as well. They fixed some oddities with some of the distant objects appearances, as well as some hair issues, fixed some issues with undesirable textures, and of course some specific stuff to Xbox Series X, which would cause textures to degrade unnecessarily. And then there were some gameplay fixes as well related to companions floating in the air. So yeah, this is great to see, but they did also have some quest fixes. I'm not going to show those off at all, because I feel like just having a quest title in there could be potentially story spoilers for you all. So I'm going to keep that under wraps. But yeah, there was some interesting details in there about things like contraband, which is a feature in this game. There's some articles about smuggling and contraband as well around the internet, which is going to be a key part of the game, especially if you want to be like a pirate or steal stuff and try to get away with it. So yeah, that's really, really cool. Now, we also got to talk about this one as well right here. Check it out. It says Starfield's in-game includes legendary ships, but space derelicts may house its best stories. But yeah, if we scroll down here, it gets absolutely fascinating. So stick with me, because we have some comments here from Bethesda. It says, does Sonic 2's Flying Fortress Zone count as abandoned, given that almost every NPC aboard is robotic? Blar. I'm more confident picking my favorite space derelict, which would include choice excerpts from the debris field of trashed StarCraft universe in the otherwise questionable Dead Space 3. I'm hoping for more of that kind of thing in Starfield, in which you encounter a wide range of scuttled vessels plus still crewed, decidedly hostile legendary ships that could play a part in the hotly upcoming Bethesdravaganza's capacious in-game. There's fresh news on this front from senior level designer Zach Wilson, who has been waxing lyrical online about the tragedies and perils of space travel. So let's get into it. It says Wilson's contributions to the game include building spaces for Starfield's United Colonies faction quest line, helping out with planet exploration, a subject of mounting controversy. More from me on all that in a bit, and design work for outer spacey activities and encounters, including the aforesaid visits to derelicts. Please brace for one mild quest spoiler in the next paragraph. Okay, so it says mild there, so we should be good. Now it says there are a couple that I really like, but that I want to keep under wraps until the game releases, so that they can be a surprise to players, Wilson observed in a Q&A on Bethesda's official site. One that I've always loved features a hapless tour guide leading a bunch of excited townies out for a space tour and are very excited to meet a real captain. The dialogue is hilarious. We also have legendary ship encounters. These are huge, high-level enemy ships that will dramatically outclass the player through the early part of the game that you will have to build up to being able to destroy. So it sounds like kind of somewhat part of the in-game experience, I suppose you would say right there. Furthermore, it says this: the stuff about legendary ships reminds me of Bethesda head of publishing Pete Hines comments to IGN last week that Starfield doesn't even really get going until you finish the main quest, which he estimates will take 50 hours. Now hold up a moment. In just a little bit, I will be talking about how this has actually stirred up, I kid you not, some strange controversies. We're going to talk about it here, don't worry. But furthermore, it goes on to say this: here's hoping for some Destiny Kings Fall-esque in-game extravagance. If you didn't play Destiny, Kingfall is a huge raid involving an alien dreadnought, often held as a series highlight. But I'm most intrigued by Wilson's thoughts on trashed abandoned ships, which pulled input from outside the design team and seem reminiscent of Fallout 3's eerier vaults. Yeah, so that's a cool comparison right there. Now, furthermore, it goes on to say, I also really like our derelict ships. We built a bunch of handcrafted derelict ships that focus on the tragedies and perils of space travel that the player can explore and discover the stories behind. The best part about these is we solicited stories from people outside the design team for their contribution, so folks who don't normally get to contribute content to the game were able to put their unique stamp on the game. One of our designers that came from the modding scene, Chris Takahashi, also built several really exciting ship encounters as well. But yeah, if you're worried about space combat in this game being an afterthought, it seems like you could put that worry to rest according to what they're saying here. So that is really great news right there. Now, out of that article, there was some interesting controversy because there was a quote in there. Check it out right here. It says this: I am not willing to drop hundreds of hours into Starfield before I finally get what this game is. Expecting players to spend hundreds of hours in a game before it reveals itself is frankly quite silly. So stick with me because by the end of this article, it does get interesting. There's a twist in here. So trust me, let's get into this. This one comes from thegamer.com. So check it out. It says this: at a Bethesda mainstream event during Gamescom 2023, Bethesda head of publishing Pete Hines said he felt Starfield didn't really get going until he'd spent 50 hours finishing the main quest and another 80 hours on side quests. In a similar conversation with IGN, he said, if I'm being honest, there's really not an amount of time that I'm comfortable enough with saying, now you've played enough Starfield to get what this game is, because like, I'm at 150, 160 hours on my current playthrough, and I haven't even come close. For me personally, this sounds like great news. I'm not getting any like bad takes from this. However, let's keep going. It says the hotly anticipated space RPG is said to be so huge that there are over 1,000 explorable planets and possibly hundreds of hours of gameplay, which gives me a headache just thinking about it. I've been excited about Starfield for a long time and will undoubtedly get sucked into it for more time than is healthy to be staring at a screen. But to say that a game is impossible to truly understand unless you've sunk in 100 of hours is indicative of something more worrying. Or, you know, perhaps there's more mystery to this game than previous Bethesda entries. I mean, we're talking about potential like alien discoveries, creatures, mini planets. So yeah, you know, even with Skyrim, there was a lot of mystery and a lot of stuff to discover even well after the main campaign. You know, there were some fascinating story arcs that would be considered, I guess you would say, side quests, but they developed, as you guys may remember with Skyrim, into full-fledged stories within themselves. And yeah, Bethesda have gone on record also stating, hey, do not skip the activities in this game. They're not even talking about the side quests, they're talking about the activities themselves, because apparently those can develop into full-blown plot points. Now we have this one. It says games are getting bigger and more expensive to make and to buy, indicating that game development is becoming more and more unsustainable. Now Starfield is an outlier because of its day one Xbox Game Pass release, which is an obvious play to incentivize people to subscribe to Game Pass, but it's also possibly one of the biggest games ever made. I enjoy a game that has plenty of things to explore. I sunk a lot of time into Skyrim as a teenager, though it's hard to say exactly how much, as I wasn't paying attention to exactly how many months or weekends I spent in my basement playing and replaying the game, a game that unfolds to reveal more of what's special about it as you sink deeper into it. Is a good game. A game that demands hundreds of hours before it really gets going is another thing entirely. Furthermore, it says, this doesn't mean that Starfield isn't a good game. I wouldn't know, obviously, because it hasn't come out yet and I didn't get a code. There's a possibility that Hines is referring to Starfield's mysterious New Game Plus mode, which game director Todd Howard has said will feature a unique and exciting twist that will incentivize continued and repeat play. Finally, we really get to a point here that, yeah, you know, they did kind of recently reveal that New Game Plus is going to be a big part of Starfield, and there is some sort of unknown related to New Game Plus as to how it is revealed to the player that, yeah, it seems to be tied to the story, which Bethesda is very much wanting to keep under wraps. And I think that is what Pete Hines is alluding to, the mystery right there, that perhaps this is going to be an absolutely fascinating game in terms of its main story quest. Which, yeah, you know, the team at Bethesda, some people have said that this is by far their favorite main quest storyline that they have created, which is saying something for sure. All right, so if we keep going here, it goes on to say this. That's a whole other thing to be confused about, because Bethesda isn't known for having New Game Plus modes in their games, which are already sprawling games that take ages to finish, and it's a strange choice for an RPG where many prefer just to start with a new character and choose an entirely different style of play. So that's another take as well, because you got to also remember they did reveal that there is no exact level cap to this game, that it is possible to actually go out there and play as one character and obtain every single skill. Now that's going to take probably a very, very long time to do, and it might be wiser to actually start a new character, considering that yes, your choices will impact what factions you can and potentially cannot work with in this game. So yeah, we'll see how New Game Plus is actually received. I just think it's a huge bonus, but it's ultimately really, really cool that they included it in the game. Now, we also need to talk about, yes, the silent protagonist. Check it out right here. It says, Starfield dev explains decision to have the game feature a silent protagonist a year after confirming that Starfield will have a silent protagonist. A Bethesda developer explains the reasoning that led to that decision. And yeah, I personally prefer a silent protagonist. Let me know what you think. I know that them having a voice protagonist in Fallout 4 was very divisive. So let's get into this article right now. It goes on to say this: Bethesda's AAA role-playing games have historically featured silent protagonists. However, the Rockville, Maryland-based developer ended that tradition with the 2015 Fallout 4, which featured a fully voiced main character. While that presentation proved to be a polarizing move among the fandom, lead designer Emil Pagliarulo explained that the decision to have voice main characters in Fallout 4 was rooted in a desire to deliver a more emotional story than what mute protagonists would allow. So, do you guys prefer what they have done here in Starfield, having a silent protagonist, or would you like them to go back to what they did in Fallout 4? Now, furthermore, it says this: 8 years later, Pagliarulo found himself explaining Bethesda's reversal of that decision in regard to Starfield, having described the return of a silent protagonist as really freeing in a recent interview with Polygon. Elaborating on that notion, the veteran developer revealed that Starfield has over 200,000 lines of spoken dialogue, adding that such a massive script could not have been voice acted if the studio also had to record the main character's lines. So yeah, there would be a lot to consider with that, because you would have multiple potentially accents that you would also have to do, which means multiple voice actors. But then again, I don't think the effort would be worth it whatsoever, and going voiceless, going silent, I think was one of the best decisions they could have made when it comes to Starfield. Now also, we got to talk about this one right here, that yes, Starfield preloading is live right now, if you didn't already know. So yeah, go check it out. Get your game preloaded on Xbox Series X or PC. But yeah, it says get ready for Starfield launch. Make sure you have all the details on early access, launch time, PC specs, and more. And they did reveal the global release times as well. Let's get into this a little bit more, shall we? They go on to say this right here. This one comes from Kotaku, who broke it down. It says, there are technically 4 versions of Starfield: the Standard Edition, $70 Premium Editions, which is $100, upgraded Game Pass Premium Editions, $30 more, and finally the Constellation Edition, which is $250. Now, if you want to play Starfield 5 days before its official September 6th launch, you'll need to buy either the Premium or Constellation Editions. If you have Game Pass or already bought the basic version of the game, you can upgrade to the Premium version for $30 and gain access to Starfield a few days early too. So when can I play Starfield Early Access? It says, here's how that breaks down. On September 1st, assuming you bought one of the special editions or upgraded your copy, you can start playing Starfield at 12 UTC time. And yeah, I'm going to try to throw the time converter in the description as well for you all. Now it says this: for those with early access who are currently living in the United States, Canada, or South America, that actually means you'll be able to start playing on August 31st. In California, players will be able to start exploring Starfield as early as 5 p.m. PDT. Now on September 6th, Standard Edition owners or Game Pass subscribers can start playing at 12 UTC. And because of time zones, if you live in the United States, Canada, or South America, you'll be able to start playing on September 5th. As before, Californian players can start as early as 5 p.m. PDT time. So yeah, some really cool details there. Now, remember, check out the link in the description below for the official Bethesda post. Again, I'm going to throw all the sources in the description as always if you need that. Now, they did also reveal officially some remaining Constellation members that we will be running into that you can actually take with you apparently on your adventure. So check it out right here. It says, meet Walter Stroud, co-owner of Stroud Eklund, who has used both his wealth and passion for exploration to help build Constellation into what it is today. Check it out. And it's voiced by Shimmerman Armin, as you can see right here. And he looks like the sophisticated type. And then we also have this one right here, introducing Vlad, a former Crimson Fleet pirate with experience piloting ships in the far reaches of the settled system. He has earned the respect and trust of his colleagues to build a pillar of Constellation, voiced by Bumper Robinson. I think he's going to be a really cool character for sure. And then next up, we have this one, meet Noelle, the youngest member of Constellation. Beyond being Sarah Morgan's protege, she's a brilliant scientist in her own right and prefers to support Constellation from the comfort of her lab. Voiced by Dana Goyer. See right here, it looks like she definitely knows what she is doing, and she is also described again as being a scientist. So there it is, the Constellation members that have recently been revealed. There are more. If you missed my previous video, check it out because I have those companions in there as well. But yeah, we also have your top comments we need to go over from my most recent video, which was this one right here. Starfield just got a 15 gigabyte patch update. This is important. Here's why. So yeah, let's see what you guys had to say about this one. So let's get into this. We have the Desert Tiger who says the most important mod will be you crashed on a planet, waking up in a cart as a prisoner on a strange world where this guy turns to you and says, hey, you're finally awake. Someone has to make this happen, by the way. My God, I really hope, by the way, that there's some like callbacks and some references to, of course, Skyrim in the actual game itself. That sort of thing I do love. But yeah, I hope modders just have a ton of fun with this, and I think they definitely will. Then we have this one right here. I'm well over 1,200 hours in Red Dead Redemption 2, and it's still very regular occurrence to see things I've never seen before almost with every session. I'm especially hopeful with Todd Howard's equating Starfield's space fantasy with Red Dead Redemption 2's Old West fantasy. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2, my God, that's an amazing game, yeah. And, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, years and years down the road, people are still discovering new stuff with Starfield, considering how many, like, voice lines there are actually in this game versus a game like Skyrim. It is super impressive. Now we have Lord Thrain who says this, thank you for telling us about the early day one patch update. Can't wait to hear your take on things 48 hours from now. So yeah, remember my review in progress, I'm going to call it a review in progress, is going to be going out on August 31st. So that's actually, whoa, very, very soon. So look out for that one. Yeah, I cannot wait for you guys to see my coverage. Now, remember, I will say this, it is going to be spoiler free. So please know I'm not going to be spoiling this story. There it is. Thank you all so much for watching. We got some more exciting Starfield news and updates for today. I cannot wait for you guys to finally play this game, but thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.